Hey guys, so I wanted to talk to you about something a little serious, and I want to start vlogging about the situation because it's really, really scary. Uh, exactly 8 days ago, on May 18th, I found out that I had a cyst inside my brain called, it's on the pineal gland, and we found it by accident. I was in an accident in March 2016, and I've had a lot of complications. I have sciatica from its pinched nerve. It affects your back all the way down to your toes on the left side, on my left side of my leg. And I also have a herniated disc on the last disc on your tailbone. So it's been causing me a lot of problems. I've been going to therapy, and recently I felt like there was just like very strange liquid leaking out of my nose. I didn't know if it was allergies or if it was something else, but I was also getting very lightheaded, and my doctor she thought I had a fracture in my skull. She thought it was like a hairline fracture that was possibly leaking brain fluid, cerebral fluid, spinal fluid out of my head and down my nose and out my ears. But so I did the MRI, and we got the results. And I really, truly wish I had a hairline fracture in my skull. What it is this: there's a cyst inside of my brain that's like almost dead center of my brain. Not on my brain, it's inside of my brain, in the center, on the pineal gland, which is a gland that controls your hormones. And it's scary because I've been through a lot this year, medical wise. I've always had some sort of issue. In January, I was burned by a pressure cooker. It wasn't fully locked in, and I was boiling soup, and it had oil and water and food inside of it, and it exploded, and I had first degree on my foot, second degree on my leg and my hands. My hand looks like nothing happened, but I could tell where it was burned. I healed very well. But dealing with that, the sciatica, the herniated disc, now hearing this news was really terrifying. But to be honest, the first thing I felt was anger. I was really, really angry because it seemed like it was one thing after another. But, I'm a very positive person. I'm always happy in certain situations. I don't let things get to me. But this was the first time I was actually really angry because thinking about it and doing research about the cyst on the pineal gland, you need brain surgery most of the time. I mean, either eventually I'm going to need it or I'm going to need it immediately as soon as I talk to the neurologist this Wednesday. And it's very scary. When the doctors sat me and my father down, and she asked if we had a family history of brain cancer or brain tumors, that's not something that you want to hear. I'm in my 20s, I'm not married, I don't have kids, I don't have a life yet. So I decided, you know what, now that I'm home and I have the time because I can't work, I'm just going to start vlogging and doing what I always wanted to do and not let something like this stop me. It really hurt my heart though. It really did. I called my boss and told him. He was the first person I told because my dad was in the room, so he already knew. My mom was working, so I didn't want to call her at work. He was the first person I told, then my sister, then my brother, and mom when she got home. And mom doesn't want to talk about it. She's very devastated. But dad keeps, every time he sees me, he's like, you're going to be okay, right? But I feel like he's telling himself that, because it's really scary for him. It's scary for all of us. But what they would have to do in the surgery, if I need it immediately, they're gonna have to shave the back of my head, and they're gonna open my skull, open my brain, and actually take the cyst out and stitch me up and, you know, make sure everything is okay. And I just did a second MRI with and without contrast to get more information, make sure it's not cancer. But it's good to know, and it's good to talk about, because the symptoms that I was having, anyone could have and not know that, you know, it was a problem. So this was an accidental find, but it was a positive find. Just in case it developed into anything, now we could just nip it in the bud that it's not that big. But I wanted to talk about my symptoms just in case any of you have anything similar. Maybe it can help you. The symptoms I was having, I was at work, and I was just doing my regular routine, and it just turned into me feeling lightheaded, and I was like, what's wrong with me? You know, it was early in the morning, I was feeling very lightheaded, I was very spaced out, I wasn't focused, and I had a full breakfast as usual, nothing different. I felt fine, and then my workers who were with me kept saying, you know, your eyes look really glossy, your eyes look very glazed, and something doesn't look right. And I was like, I feel fine, there's nothing wrong with me. So I went, hold on. Hi, so what I'm wearing right now is for a brain scan. It's called an EEG, and what it does, since I have the pineal cyst in my brain, it scans like brain waves to make sure that I won't be having any seizures or, you know, just anything crazy that might happen, no epilepsy and all of that fun stuff. But it tracks like your sleep patterns and the main parts of your brain waves, and it could even tell like how many times a day you blink. So it's really high tech and amazing technology, and I'm super grateful for living in New York, where even in the States, where it's like amazing technology where you can just track all of these stuff. So I get it taken off, and then the process is, it takes about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So the doctors tell me like the information that they gathered from it, because they have to, you know, go and decipher all of what, you know, it came up with, and then we'll go from there. And then I see a neurosurgeon on June 28th, so I think today is June 7th, so I've got a bit of a waiting to go. It's a lot of this is like a waiting game, you know, and the waiting can make you kind of crazy. So if you're going through what I'm going through, you know, just this sounds so crazy, but you really need to stay positive and hope for the best. This is like a pack with all of the wires that they give you to come home with, and you have to make sure that the battery is still working. They give you extra batteries to change it, you know, while you sleep with it and everything, but always make sure that light is working if you're wearing it. Never take it off. Well, all of it's attached to your head, so there's tiny micros, you know, little electrodes, I don't know what they're called, but the little ends of the wires that are scanning your brain taped onto your hair. It's kind of like they use like this glue. So we're gonna take that off later. I wore it for 48 hours, so after my full 48, which is an hour and a half, I get to take it off, I get to take a shower. That's the worst part, is you can't shower. But just stay patient, stay positive, and just keep looking at things that make you smile. So I record a lot of Ellen DeGeneres shows because she's an amazing, like, positive person, and I love that she makes you laugh. So that's what I've been watching. And just fun things. Like, I love Disney, so I've been watching Disney movies and Harry Potter, and I'm looking at like all these motivational, inspirational, encouraging quotes on Pinterest, and also looking at things that I also want to accomplish in my life and make a plan for it now. So as soon as I'm over this, I can just go for it. And even if I don't know what that is right now, it's always good to jot down things that are positive in your life and things that you want to accomplish, or they might not be big goals, but they're some kind of goals, and it gives you something to look forward to. And when you feel upset and angry and you want to cry. I'm a very emotional person. I'm a Cancer, so I cry every day, but it's not always a bad thing. It can be a good thing. But you have to find some kind of therapeutic way to release yourself. So tomorrow I'm gonna be painting and just enjoying something. You know, you gotta enjoy your life, even though I couldn't leave the house for about 2.5 days, 3 days. It gets frustrating. So you have to stay positive and keep encouraging yourself, even if you're not going through something like this and you're going through something similar, like you broke your foot, or I don't know, just anything. Even if you have the stomach virus or the flu, just stay positive and be happy. Trying to find a way to be happy through anything. And remember, all of this helps your soul grow. It's all about the growth of you on the inside as a person. Physical things don't affect your soul. I don't believe that. So it just makes you stronger, and you come back in your next life as a really strong soul and a very strong person with an amazing aura and good karma. And I truly believe in all of that stuff. So stay positive, and I wish you all the best. Bye, guys. Hey guys, so in the previous clip I was cut off about talking about my symptoms because I got very upset, but now I'm much better. So I'm just going to tell you from the beginning what happened. So I was at work, and I was going about my routine. You know, I have the same routine every day, nothing new, nothing strenuous, nothing crazy happened. And one of my coworkers said that my eyes looked very glossy and very glazed. So paid no mind to it, got a drink of water, kept going. And maybe 20 minutes later, I felt very dizzy, and I was lightheaded, and then I started to feel like I had vertigo, and my hearing became a little distorted. And it distorted meaning like the words sounded robotic, and it was really scary. So I knew I wasn't hungry because I always eat a full breakfast, and I had a full breakfast about 1.5 hours ago, but I still made myself go get a snack and have some more water, because I'm constantly drinking water throughout the day. So I knew I wasn't dehydrated, but you know, just in case, I had a snack. Went back out to the floor, and while I was working, it was really hard to focus. Like, my eyes fell out of focus, but while I looked around at my surroundings, I was getting tunnel vision. So I noticed that things were going further and further and further away from me. Like, you saw my fingers do that in the video just now. That's how things in normal distance were looking to me, and I knew something wasn't quite right. So I let another coworker know, and you know, I just continued about my day. And after an hour, I felt worse. I couldn't look up at all. I could only focus on things that were in like arm's length of me, or else I would feel like I was going to pass out or, you know, fall down because I was so dizzy. So I also, like, I had this feeling of just like I was being really nauseous, but I wasn't sure it was because I ate, because I wasn't hungry. A lot of things could have factored into that. So that was just what was going on. My vertigo symptoms lasted about 4 hours, and it was just really weird. But I journaled everything that I was feeling. Also, the day before, I was feeling so bloated and really full. But I made myself eat 3 snacks within the 4 hours that I was feeling the vertigo, because I didn't know what it was. And then my heart rate was just, it was speeding up. I think because I was scared. I have anxiety and I'm claustrophobic, but I work in a very big store, 5 floors. So I knew it wasn't that. But after that, for the following week, I had nausea every day. And even having like small snacks like crackers in general was making me feel really sick and very nauseous. I had very little appetite, and then it would just open up tremendously all at once. And I was lightheaded a lot, very often. And then my arms were getting weak. So when it was time for me to sleep or for me to wake up in the morning, like both arms, I needed to have it massaged in order for it to just like move, because it was like a crazy tingling sensation going down my arms, and it was really scary. But I was feeling like I needed to rest too often. And I went to my favorite places to try and get like my appetite back to eat something, and it was really hard. So I was beginning to not even eat breakfast, and I would only have coffee because I had zero appetite, nothing. And then everything made me feel like I wanted to throw up. So my neck began to hurt, and I started eating like small pieces of like bread and apple and little tiny things to make myself feel better. And I also started I didn't do research until I met with my doctor. So when I told my doctor all of these symptoms, she requested the MRI, and the MRI showed that I had a cyst on my pineal gland. So just to give you a brief overview, that's the center of your brain. Your pineal gland controls like your hormones, and it's also known as the mythical third eye. So the cyst was on that, and it's right in between the cerebrum and the gland itself. So it's dead center of my brain. And I did one MRI. That's what we found. And then we did another MRI because the first one was without contrast. So now when you do with contrast, you get more of like a 3D dimensional, better picture of what was going on. So once we did that, I saw my neurologist, and he was very, like, oh, having cysts in the brain is very common. And, he just was very casual about the situation, and to me it was very like life or death, because I was reading all of these medical journals about people who've been through it, and some girl lost her sight, and she had temporary blindness, and you read a lot of these things, you do a lot of research. I changed my diet, and that's where I was journaling what I was eating. I was eating like cream of wheat and like rice and beans, and I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat any meat, but I eat a lot of vegetables, and I eat very healthy. So it was just, I was doing everything I possibly could and doing a lot of research at the time. So the neurologist wanted to refer me to a neurosurgeon. So the neurosurgeon is more of a specialist, and he will be able to analyze everything. And, he performed the surgery so often that he was the right person to go to about this. The neurologist just gave me more of like a general synopsis of what it could be, what it can't be, and he pretty much said that I should only have a follow-up in a year, and then after that 2 years after. But I got to see the neurologist 3 to 4 weeks later. So it was this long process of waiting and not knowing and panicking and planning out things like who will I leave everything to if I do need surgery and something goes wrong and if I don't make it? And you start thinking about all these things that you want to do and you never got to do. And then silly little things like, do I have enough family photos for my family if I happen to pass away, or if, you know, I go to surgery and things don't go right, or I become, I don't know, you just think of all these things. So I started writing down and planning, and then I started vlogging and just writing down my experience, and of course still doing more research and see what else was going on. And the recovery process for surgery is like, it's insane. You can't be around any electronic devices. You can't have your phone, no TV, no light. You can't laugh there. You can't strain yourself in any way for the stitches to pop in the back of the head. It was all of these things I was thinking of. They have to shave my head. Who's gonna take care of me? Just craziness. What if I lose my memory? It's a lot of mental stress and emotional stress that you put yourself through. But after maybe after a month, because I was off since May. It happened May 9th, and I did not go back to work since then. After a month of being home from that, I had to start looking at like positive things and reading better, you know, like more successful stories about things that can happen, like telling myself it's not the end of the world, that it doesn't have to be something that's fatal, and just praying helps like an insane amount. So I had to wait from May 8th to June 28th to actually see the neurosurgeon. And that, you know, your mind goes in all these different crazy places. But the good news is that when we analyzed my cyst today, when I saw him, he said that it's not a tumor, which is phenomenal. He just gave me the most amazing news. And the cyst itself isn't a hard, dense mass. It's more fluid inside of it, which is actually a better thing. That's a positive thing. So instead of, you know, I do have to continue to follow up. So the next follow up would be an MRI in another brain scan. That's an MRI in 6 months, and then we'll continue from there. As long as it doesn't grow, this is like a really positive, great thing. Now, if it does continue to grow, that's something we're gonna have to discuss with the neurosurgeon, but right now I don't want to think of that even being a possibility. I'm just glad that it's nothing serious, it's nothing life-threatening like I have read for some people. I'm so sorry if you're going through this, and it really is, but I'm just extremely grateful. And if you're going through something similar, I filmed something else where I'm wearing the EEG, and that's another brain scan that I wore for them to check for seizures and epilepsy, just in case, because those are all side effects of having a pineal cyst. But I'm really thankful and grateful that nothing else happened. And if you do have these symptoms, please go check it out. And just let your doctor know, because it could be something serious, and it could be nothing. But it's definitely good to know. And that's pretty much it. I mean, my journey is still going to continue. In 6 months from now, I'll do another follow-up to see, you know, hopefully there's no growth, and I will continue to vlog about it. But other than that, I feel like I won the lottery. Without your health, you literally have nothing in life. So thank you all for joining me on this journey, and I will see you soon. Bye.